To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So this video is a continuation of a video that I made last week, or maybe a little over a week ago, where I was talking about the tiny house. You know, we got some materials so we could continue to build our little tiny house. I want to recap some of the things that we've done so far so everybody's on board with what we're doing. Our tiny house is going to be 16 feet long by 12 feet wide. And we're building it on an existing trailer frame. This is a mobile home trailer frame, a regular mobile home that was built, I guess, in the early 70s, maybe. The last person that lived in this mobile home was in 1975. So as you can see, the mobile home went all the way back there to the front here. I don't know how many feet that is, 40 feet maybe. Regardless, we had to tear it down. I mean, somebody had already started tearing it down, so the front half of the trailer was completely demolished. The only thing that was remaining was the floor joist, but the carpet was on top of the floor joist, meaning the particle board had already disintegrated. The back half of the trailer had the walls taken down, but the roof was still there. We trimmed the trailer to right here, but what we got here is what we don't have built onto yet is going to be our back porch. Now, we've already built the deck, the floor, to our trailer. Now, what we did here was all the 2x4s that we could reuse from the original trailer, all the floor joists that were 2x4s. We used here. This is going to be plenty strong. I know there's a lot of carpenters out there that says, no, you need 2x8s, but there's a few things to this. First, we're not building a house. A two-story house, is going to have tons of weight on it. You're going to have water beds and furniture and all kinds of things. This is 12 by 16. We're not even going to be able to get furniture in here. The 2x4s that were originally put on this were 12 feet long. They went all the way across. So that means you got two bracing systems here. You got this brace and that one over there. Well, we added a third one right here in the middle. Right here you'll see some cross members. Well, we added a 2x6 cross beam right in the center all the way down. So we have three bracing systems. And then you have these steel wings here on every other floor joist, give it extra support also. So the floor I'm not worried about because most of it's made out of steel. Then we insulated underneath, and every time I show this, man, I get all kinds of complaints. But we insulated underneath here just like you're supposed to. I've seen video after video of major construction people, like this old house and, you know, those kind of guys, build this insulation under here just like this also. The vapor barrier is in between the floor and the insulation, right where it's supposed to be. A lot of people say you're supposed to put a vapor barrier here. You're not. That traps moisture inside the insulation and it wouldn't be able to evaporate. Here, you just want to keep the moisture out in between the plywood of the floor and the insulation. That's where the moisture barrier goes. Now, as far as rodents, not going to have a problem with rodents. We sprayed cayenne pepper everywhere. What we did was we mixed cayenne pepper into a sprayer with water, hot water, because it mixes up better in hot water, and we sprayed the whole area. So we've had this in here for several months already, and as you can see, we've had no problems with it. Now, eventually we're going to, of course, put siding down here, so that'll help keep any environment out of there also. We've got one wall built. We got the front wall built. That wall was twice the price. Right now, during the pandemic, lumber is double the cost. So I was expecting to spend about $65 on these 2x6 walls. Now I'm using 2x6s. I know a lot of people think that's crazy. Why not use 2x4s? They're going to use it by 2x4 for a floor. Why not 2x4s for the walls? The primary reason, there's two reasons, then we went with 2x6s, is one is cheaper, believe it or not. With a 2x4, you got to space them out every 16 inches. With a 2x6, I can space them out and get the same structural integrity every 2 feet. So I needed less lumber in the end using 2x6s. Now I know that's not the code. Yes, I know it's not the code. You got to go 16 inches to code. But this isn't restricted to code. This is a tiny house. It's a trailer. In order to go to code, it's got to be 800 square feet. In order to be permanent, it has to be 400 square feet or bigger. And this is 200 square feet. It doesn't fall under any regulations, so I don't have to worry about code. Besides that, it's a trailer. They're not going to come out and say, hey, you're not the code on this trailer. It's a trailer. The second reason is I'll get thicker insulation on the walls. I want thick insulation in the ceilings and the walls, just a little bit of insulation underneath. As you know, heat rises, cool air drops. So, you know, let the cool air drop down. We just don't want a cold floor to walk on, is what we're trying to avoid. That's why we have insulation underneath the floor. We'll put huge, thick insulation up in the ceilings, and 2x6s will have a lot of insulation also. Carolyn is like the master bargain hunter. As I mentioned in the previous video, lumber prices have doubled just for 2x4s and 2x6s. We wanted to spend $5,000 on this house, or less. Well, when I went to buy this, it was double the price. And when I talked to him about OSB, which is the material that we're going to use to wrap the skin around the house, which is, it's like plywood, but it's like particle board also. When I asked him about it, he says, well, this is 3 times the price. Originally, it was $8 a sheet, and in the last month, they've raised it to $23 a sheet. What happened is during the pandemic, the hardware stores got to stay open, and all the DIYers came out and bought all the material, but the manufacturers of the wood wasn't restocking because they were closed. So now they're out of wood, so they jacked the prices up. So this was going to cost us way too much. There's no way we could actually finish the house in any reasonable amount of time if they keep the prices at $23. Carolyn has been bargain hunting. Now, her original bargain hunt was on these doors and windows. This door right here that we got was $50. I had people in the comment section tell me that's a $500 door, which I believe because the cheapest door I could find at Lowe's was $179. This has got a window in it, big, huge window. I know you can't see it, but there's a window in it. It's all wood. It's a beautiful window. And then we got 3 windows here, all vinyl, and we got a storm door for $265. Now, had we went to Lowe's, we figured it was going to cost us over $900. So, you know, that's a $700 savings, or close to $700. She's just a master shopper. And where she really works her magic is on Facebook Marketplace. She goes there every evening, she looks around, and then she gets up in the morning and looks around again just to see if there's any bargain. So this, like I said, was going to be $23 a sheet. Well, she found a guy 43 miles away. He was selling this stuff for $7 a sheet, which is actually $1 cheaper than what the stores were selling it a month ago. Now, in the first video that I talked about, I had a lot of people say, well, I don't see what the big deal is, Rob. It doesn't matter if you spend $5,000, $10,000. You're spending $500 a month, and you know, instead of doing it in 10 months, you're going to do it in 20 months. It's not that big of a cost, you know, if you double the price of the house. Which, first of all, I mean, why would I want to double or triple the price of my house? I just, you know, money is money. It doesn't matter how slow you spend it. If you're spending it, you're spending it. You know, all that money could go in my savings, and that could be my retirement. That being said, let's just assume you're right. So let's assume that I went out and got a loan for this house, which most people do. They go out and get a loan. Of course, I'm debt free. I'm never going to be in debt again. I will pay for it myself. So, but let's say I go out and get a loan. So the bank gives you a $100,000 loan. Just using it as an example. I realize the houses cost more than that. And you hire a construction company to come out and build your house. Well, the bank gives you 6 months to build it. Well, now it's on pause because of the pandemic. Well, now the pandemic's over, they can come back out, they can start building again. Well, as they're building, they go out and buy materials for your new house, and it's now 3 times the cost. So now you have to go back to the bank and say, hey bank, I need another 200,000 because they just jacked my house cost up. Oh no, we're not going to do that. Why would we do that? So now you owe $100,000 on a house that's not built. Now on the other hand, let's say they do give you the extra $200,000. And so you build your house for $300,000. Now you got a $300,000 home that you're paying on.